Hello, everybody. In this video, I will be showcasing a feature you guys have asked for a while, the custom item creator. Other than that though, I revamped the main menu UI. Let me know what you guys think about it now. But anyways, let's get straight into making custom items. Tada! As you can see, it looks very similar to the custom character creator, except the UI looks cleaner and there's a rig in the middle. Let's just press Create New and get straight into it. As you can see, the only thing that makes this menu different from the character creators, other than the cleaner UI, is that the body part colors frame has been replaced with a character visibility toggle. Anyways, the first item I'm going to make is the plank. Nice and simple, it's just one resized block. As you can see, the placing system is very similar to the custom character creator, the asset will place wherever your camera is pointing at. To format the item properly, basically just make it fit in the rig's hand and adjust to however you like. The only configuration on normal assets is choosing whether the item is paintable or not. I'll show you why this config can be useful later, but for now, we don't need the plank to be colorable. Now, here's the final menu before submitting your item. Reminder, do not create any inappropriate items, you will get banned permanently from all of your accounts. I'm not playing around or bluffing, 6 people have already been banned for creating inappropriate custom characters. But anyways, in this menu, you can set the name of the item tool, an optional tool icon ID, and the tool tip, the text that shows when you hover over the tool in your hotbar. On top of that, you can also set audio for when you equip, activate, and unequip the tool. Once you're finished, press Finish and Save, and then it should pop up in your load menu at the start. Anyways, though, let's start on a new item, a hammer. I'm going to start by placing a mesh block. Then, I will open the configure menu and set the mesh ID and texture ID. If you're not sure how to set your own meshes, make sure to watch the video in the top right corner. Also, just so you're aware, all of the placeholder text for text boxes in this custom item creator have the asset IDs necessary to make a hammer. For example, in the mesh config menu, the mesh ID inputs placeholder text has the right ID, and same with the texture ID. Like I was saying, the placeholder text for the texture input holds 16198294, which is actually the texture ID for a basic hammer. Once again, the tool icon ID here is 16198783. If I type that in, I get the accurate tool icon. Now, for the last item that I will walk through, we're doing a colorable hammer. Instead of the whole hammer getting colored though, we're just going to make the handle colored. I'm just going to add a head shape and resize it to kind of fit the handle. Also, if you weren't aware of these inputs at the bottom, you can set the grid snap, rotate snap, and decal texture. They default to 0.1 studs, 45 degrees, and the ID for the decal block respectively. Now that I'm finished resizing it, I'm going to open the config menu for that head shape and enable paintable. One thing to note about this feature, when an item is painted, the material will still be whatever you set it to here, only the color of the part gets changed. I'm going to find a white icon for the tool icon because that way, if the tool is red, the hint bubble for the item use trigger will show a red hammer icon. Once you find a texture you like on the Creator Marketplace, right-click it and press Copy Texture ID. Now let's paste it into the tool icon ID input. You know what, I also feel like I want to set audio for these actions on the side here. To do this, find a sound effect you like on the Creator Marketplace. Right-click More Info and then press Copy Asset ID. Sorry for the mobile players, I'll add an in-game searcher soon. But anyways, paste IDs for whichever actions you like. Again, this is optional, most items don't really need sound effects to go with them. Perfect. Now that we have an audio ID for each action, we can finish and save. Also, those of you who have experienced audio saving bugs in the past, that's now fixed for both the custom character creator and this custom item creator. But anyways, let's now test these items we made in our actual build server. Let's open our asset menu and tada! All of the items we made are in the items category. As you can already see, for the colorable hammer, the handle is already colored. Anyways, let's see what all of these item tools look like when they're in the player's hand. Moment of truth to test the colorable hammer's audio. Perfect. As you can see, or hear, the audio plays when I equip, activate, and unequip the tool. Also, in case you don't know, activating a tool means clicking/tapping while the tool is equipped. Now, onto our next brand new asset, the item function block. This is a link signal that triggers when any player equips, activates, or unequips a specified item. Note, when this asset is triggered, it sends a signal for only a split second. I will show how you can increase the activation length. First, let's just set up the block settings. I'm going to use the Colorable Hammer to demonstrate because the audio clearly indicates when I equip, activate, and unequip. Also, if you're using a colorable item for the block and you only want one specific color to trigger it, make sure to enable the specific to item color setting and set the item color to whatever color you want. To demonstrate the function of this block, I'm going to place a powered block. I'm also going to place a sustained gate to increase the activation length. As you can see, when I activate the tool, the block is powered for 1 second. Which is the setting I put for the sustained gate. Also, you may have noticed that my arm is now slashing whenever I activate it. That didn't happen before, so why is it happening now? That's because I made it so that the animation only plays if an item function block specifically defines the action of that item. Anyways, let's now try it with the action setting set to equip. As you can see, when I equip the tool now, the block powers for a second. Also, that animation thing I just mentioned should only apply for the activate setting, so I will make sure to fix that bug where it also plays for equip and unequip. Now, I'm going to make a magnifying glass item and show you guys how to make something similar to the magnifying glass event in the official Piggy build mode. Let's head back to the item creator. Alright, while I'm making the magnifying glass, I guess now is a good time to give credits to everybody who suggested the item creator. For my YouTube comments, shout out to Octopus Gaming Roblox, MattBot Gamerboy 3108, Big Axolotl, Nisa Coles 8011, and Cyberzone Gaming. From my Discord server, which if you're not in it yet, you should join, shout out to Beto_dev, and Noel Crockers. And lastly, from the feedback system of my game, shout out to Poopsie_Whoopsie, for TE56GE4, Fazbear45612, Nisa_Coles again, and finally Big Boy Lewis 3788. Thank you all so much for suggesting this idea and I hope it met your expectations. Anyways, now that we're done with the magnifying glass, I'm also going to make a key code item. Alright, I'm going to open an art editing software I use called Krita to make the decal for the key code item. Basically, it will just be 4 zeros. I know it looks stretched out but just trust the process. Now I'm going to upload this image as a decal to Roblox. If you're planning on uploading and using a decal, I'd recommend selecting it from the Images tab instead because that's more compatible with my image detection system. And voila! In case you're wondering how the decal asset works, basically when you click the decal button in the Assets menu, it is added to whichever part that is in the center of the screen. Now allow me to reposition the part and we can then continue. In this recording, the Roblox text filter got really strict with key code. It's quite unfortunate and I can't do much about it. But anyways, if you run into this issue while playing, save it under another name temporarily, rejoin the game, load that save, and try again. Alright, now we can delete that temporary save and then join our build server. As you can see, when I open my asset menu again, both the key code and the magnifying glass items are both there. Anyways, like I said before, I'm going to show you how to make the magnifying glass item actually work properly. At least for the most part. First, let's delete the sustain gate and set up a latch. I showed how to make one in a video from a while back for the official Piggy build mode. Place a not gate, or gate, and gate like this. Also move the item function block to be right next to the OR gate. Now for the settings of the item function block, make sure to set the item setting to the magnifying glass and turn specific to item color off, unless your magnifying glass is colorable. Pay close attention here, link the item function block to the OR gate. Link the OR gate to the powered block and the AND gate. Link the NOT gate to the AND gate. And finally, link the AND gate back to the OR gate. Now duplicate the item function block. For the duplicate, set the function to unequip. Then, link the duplicate to the NOT gate. Let's test. And as you can see, when the magnifying glass is equipped, the block appears, and when it's unequipped, it disappears. For more powered blocks, just link the OR gate to more powered blocks. Now, I'm going to set up a UI screen with a vignette for just more of an effect. I'm simply going to link a UI screen to a UI image right in front of it. If you're planning on doing this, make sure to set the background transparency of the UI image to 1. Alright, once you set up that vignette, link the OR gate to the UI screen. And let's test again. Perfect. Until you realize that for the full screen, it doesn't look too pretty. This is because the UI image preserves the original image's size. I'll make sure to add a stretch setting to the UI image though, so stay tuned for that. Alright, now, I'm just going to spend the remainder of the video remaking Piggy events. One thing I want to stop right here and mention is a new setting for the item use trigger. You can now set the mouse icon. Alright, for our first event, we have the plank. Before you place the plank, it's transparent and non-collidable. But once you place it, ta-da! You can now walk over it to the other side of whatever. Let me know if you guys want me to soon show how to make this for a next video on custom builds. Kind of like my previous video. Now for the next event, I'm going to use the custom escape door we made in the previous video. This time, though, I'll make it so that the hammer is actually a hammer and not some random gear. And also that the key code is actually a key code and not a white keycard. So apparently items with decals are currently an issue, I'll get to fixing that soon. Anyways, let's just do this regardless. Just so you guys are aware, this was an old save of the escape door we made last time, so I think I may have mislinked some things, lol. Nonetheless, the events looked much more real since they weren't just placeholders. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about my new avatar, lol. I just wanted to change it since I had the previous one for 3 years, maybe more. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any more suggestions or bug reports, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you.